Hey everyone, Bethany here, the Retrain Your Brain show, talking about things that basically that get your mind thinking and expanded so that way you can, live the life you want, whether that be becoming healthier or helping the pocketbook or bettering relationships. There are all kinds of things that we all do every day, thanks to previous training or just, our emotional reactions to everyday life that can hold us back. The daily fears, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit today. Today, hopefully my phone doesn't glitch on me again and, swing things around. So, today I wanted to talk about, how do you find the people that you need? There's a bunch of sayings nowadays, and I do believe they're true, where they talk about, the people that you hang out with tend to be what you become. Hi. And so, this is why there's kind of a group think that happens when it comes to, talk about mob mentality and, hey Joe, and things that, when you're in a group, people tend to kind of become like-minded. That's why, I used to talk about, when I was going around San Diego when I was younger, and, we'd all see whatever was some drama going on down the street. Me and my friend will look at each other and like, we'll join the mob and lower IQ temporarily and go see what's going on, So the people you hang out with do have an effect on your thinking, on your well-being, and who you are. They can affect, your politics, your opinions. The people you hang out with a lot do have significant sway. So, especially in the business world, they talk about, if you want to learn something, if you want to get smarter, you got to hang out with people smarter than you. So likewise, if you're just hanging out with people that are always, dumber than you, then it does work both ways, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. We can't always avoid situations where we come into contact with people we don't want to. There's functions and family and unexpected guests, and you can't always avoid it, but at least try to, I do believe if you try to spend the significant amount of time with people who are smarter than you and wiser than you, then ultimately that will make you smarter and wiser as well in the long run. Other sayings, something else I read recently that I thought was pretty insightful, which is like, look at what you're reading now, what you're watching, what you're doing online, to add to this saying. But what you tend to focus on and the type of opinions tends to be true of you and what you become 5 years later. So if you want to work on something and you want to be something different, you got to evaluate everything and look at what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying that you need to run out and go and watch nothing but PG hunky-dory movies, or nothing like that. I mean, our minds luckily are more complex than that. But try to focus most of your attention on bringing good people and the type of people that you want into your life, so that way you will reflect that down the road. Versus, if you've got a toxic person in your life and they are spending most of their time with you, or you're spending most of your time with them, then you tend to reflect that toxic personality. Not necessarily you yourself would be the same as them, but it will cause a depression or some kind of, that's what stuff that causes self-defeating issues and tendencies. Toxic relationships can be a big thing on that. I had an ex that was constantly, that did basically become verbally abusive to me, and luckily I'm just strong enough to go, this is not happening anymore. It took some time simply because I needed to make sure he was ready to go as well, because I didn't want it to get violent or get to a bad place. But you know, they called me names. I mean, I had a couple of glasses of wine at a, oh, good night. You too, Joe. That's true. Thank you, Joe. Friends from Ireland. I can't wait to get back to Ireland. Dublin was one of my favorite places that I traveled to. And I definitely will be back. So anyway, what I was saying was, I mean, I had a couple glasses of wine at an airport because it was running late, and the guy practically blamed me for the plane being late, not being able to take a connection, and then calling me an alcoholic for having a couple glasses of wine. And by the way, the second glass was because of him. So, you know, it's looking at that and having the strength to leave it and knowing that you can find more people. It does take some work, especially as an adult out of college, but it takes work. But you just got to do it. I mean, one way or another. And I know I see that as if it's an easy thing. I know it's not. But you got to find a way to find those people who can make you strong enough to leave whatever it is you need to leave, you know, be that a person in a bad relationship or an addiction. You know, that's why there's rehab centers all over the place, and you know, AA and Alcoholics Anonymous for the people who are in, I think it's A-Anon, for the people who have alcoholics in their life. And, you know, this is obviously something, you know, that my family deals with, and it is what it is, you know, and people, that's how you get help. You go and find the people who are there to help you, whether it's because, again, you want to get smarter and you want to work on something, or yeah, you got to work on something that's more toxic. It takes people. There are actual studies that have shown that, you know, the more addictive painkillers, people with healthy family structures and friend structures pretty much never have a problem getting addicted to those same painkillers. They can get off of them and move on with their life. They have much more ability to do that. Now, is there a genetic component to, you know, different addictions? Sure. We've seen it. There's been proof of that. I've had friends with addictive personalities that they kick one bad habit and just basically move on to something else. It is what it is. And the question is if you do have that addictive tendency, is it possible to move that tendency to something more healthy? You know, I don't know. That's an actual question. I don't know if that's possible. It's not something I've looked up, but it is something I've wondered about. You know, if it's possible to, you know, for someone who does have an addictive personality or whatever that gene or that thing is that caused whatever addiction, if that can be channeled into something, you know, into healthy, you know, getting addicted to, I don't know. Anyway, random thoughts on a tangent. Coming back now. You know, and so it's just, so finding your people. And you know, I wrote something here. You know, what else you need to avoid those when, you know, another thing people have talked about is finding your tribe. You know, especially in relation to women, finding your tribe, your group of women. I think just men need a group of guys and women often need a group of girls. Now, for me, you know, that's been one or two people that I've kind of kept as close female confidants over the years. You know, I'm not one of those that needs to talk every other day, you know, to them. We catch up when we can. And, you know, so I've got my loose tribe. and then I believe the same thing for guys. Guys also need guy time. You know, this is where, you know, the Boy Scouts of America, like if what I'm hearing is true, which is basically the Boy Scouts of America becoming Scouts of America, will incorporate girls in a way that they will still have girl space and still have boy space. Because a lot of that came from girls wanting to be in the boy space, but also for parents. I mean, running around to different events between the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I mean, I saw my parents try to do it. Mostly we ended up just kind of going with my stuff because I'm the one who stayed active in it. But, you know, it's a lot. So, I mean, if they can have a troop that has, you know, boys and girls in it, but they still have that time of separate, you know, activities, you know, where boys can be boys and they can roughhouse. And because as soon as like a girl is playing flag football with them, everyone gets, can't hurt the girl, you know, they hold back, and it's always about impressing the girl. It's not as much that way with girls, but yes, it still happens. If there's a boy around, you know, there's still the focus shifts. That's just how it goes. You know, that's just biology. When the opposite sex is around, and that's just how it is right now. You know, I know a lot of people are out there trying to change that, and I guess we'll find out if it does. We'll see how that evolves, but you know, that's just the way it is right now. You know, so in finding your tribe, what you've got to avoid is an echo chamber. This is more common for political purposes. But my point of saying the echo chamber is to avoid accumulating too many people with the same idea. If they have the same ideas and the same methods and the same backgrounds, especially as you know, and everyone agrees with each other all the time, that would be an echo chamber, which means you're not learning anything. If your views aren't challenged, you know, whether it be your approach to business or even fitness, the approaches to fitness widely vary, you know, paleo versus vegan versus, you know, whatever the ones that eat fish are. You know, there you can find discussions to be had in just about anything. How people train. Should you have breakfast in the morning, or should you just have a cup of coffee? You know, when are the best times to eat? It's healthy to meet other people with other ideas, because you never know, because something might actually click for you, especially like in the fitness world, based on your body type and your personal habits. You know, they talk about, you know, it could be even your blood type people say can play a role in what foods you should eat for your body. You know, there's so much out there, but if you don't put yourself out there, common theme in most of my videos, got to put yourself out there in order to find it. You got to do the research. And as far as meeting people, you know, go to events. It doesn't even have to be necessarily related to what you're doing. You know, I'll go to small business events and seminars to meet other small businesses and people that either I can benefit from or get ideas of places I can go for help and for hiring people. You know, mostly hiring like services to take stuff off my plate. And, but then I'll also go to just, you know, art fairs and meet some artists, because guess what? They're also running small businesses, but they tend to go to different types of events. I've been able to network with a couple of people by doing gigs on Fiverr and getting to know people online. And then I'm having a ball on Facebook, meeting all kinds of people in the camping world, especially the hammock camping world specifically, and learning the best ways to do things. I even found a person who could custom make a underquilt and overquilt for the hammock, because they make a good point. Getting into a hammock inside a sleeping bag or vice versa, difficult. So, you know, so I'm understanding now the overquilt, underquilt thing for hammocks, and learning more about camping and lightweight backpacking, because for me to get in backpacking has to be lightweight, because I don't do much on the shoulders. Even when I was carrying heavy book bags every day for years, my body does not like it. So lightweight backpacking. You know, you got to go out there and search. I mean, it's kind of amazing. I don't think we all realize just how much is out there until you start searching for it. So anytime, I mean, you just get something in your mind that's just in the back of your mind, wondering. The internet's a wonderful thing nowadays. But also just go to events and meet people in live. You know, for small business people, I tend to like to go to the seminars. For professional corporate type gigs, going to like young professional societies can bring about stuff. Or like I've seen, you know, going to concerts, and I have met people at bars. that have become good friends for a spell, but not the most stable ones. But, you know, just going to a concert with people that like the same kind of music, and keeping it light and getting to know people outside of politics, outside of religion. Now, I disagree with the fact that we were all brought up to not talk about religion or politics, because now no one knows how. And so it seems very difficult for certain people to have civil discourse when it comes to particularly politics right now, but like religion and politics in regard to speech right now, it's all very polarized at the moment. But it takes all sides, you know. It's I think some people, a lot of us who are in the middle, so I'm probably moderate and conservative leaning. I've got lots of friends on both sides of the spectrum, so I see both sides. I've got liberal friends where I've been introduced to their group, but I'm like, yeah, I'm like their token conservative person that they talk to in order to understand the conservative point of view, because I can talk to them that way, and you know, and I will listen to them too, and this is, you know, we're able to have a conversation, and I control it as much as I can. You know, but it takes both sides, because life needs balance. I mean, this is why we have, you know, good versus evil and dark versus light and yin and yang. It takes a balance and different viewpoints, no matter what you're doing. Again, whether that's in business and you're trying to learn the best practices for you and your business, or it's, you know, what is the best for your body, what do you do to eat and exercise that creates that actually starts you getting toward your health goals, or be it you know, just improving your relationships with people, being able to be listening. And that brings me to my final point, and this is something that actually my coach Leela posted today, so I am going to share her post right after this, which is how to become defensive less, so meaning that the minute that you're in a conversation, and whether it's you or the other person that becomes defensive over whatever you're talking about, you know, and normally this presents with the other person, well, getting emotional, getting in a negative way, can be lashing out, and it often can be seen as being thin-skinned, or even it can come from because this person has, you know, had a bad experience with that topic, or even a self-importance. They get defensive because they're just like, oh, my idea is the way to go, and that's it, or get off my highway. You know, that kind of defensive position, it erodes your relationships, and it erodes you. It erodes your opportunities. But if people feel like they can't talk to you because you're defensive and very specific about your point, and just will not hear or entertain anyone else's point of view or why they have their point of view, you might as well kiss that relationship goodbye. Why would they talk to you ever, other than, you know, I don't do just random talk very well. I gotta, like, for me, I get into things with people. If I can't do that, then it's not really gonna go anywhere, because I'm not good at small talk. That's what I'm looking for. So see Leela's video after this. It's about 15 minutes, and she makes some amazing points on checking yourself when you feel defensive, and why, versus, you know, kind of going with the flow and being open. Defensiveness is very, very closed position, tense, as she says. So, and she gives some more examples from a doctor and whatnot. So I hope that was informative a little bit, and just kind of, again, check the people you're hanging out with, check the things that you're watching, the things that you're doing, and clean up your brain. That's what you got to do. And once your brain is functioning properly and working and is trained right to react correctly to situations, and open enough to deal with stuff, all kinds of doors can open. All kinds of doors, from, again, relationships and health and business. That it's just amazing what happens when things are level-headed and in balance. And that includes, though, balancing the people in your life between spending more time with people who are what you want to be and less time with people who are what you don't want to be. Again, personal experience there. As well as just balancing out yourself and your emotions and different types of people with different experiences that will really kind of show you what options are truly out there. So tune in Friday for kind of more along these lines, getting into more social stuff and continue to retrain that brain. All right, we'll see you then. Bye. I love you, Carlo.